Okay, we're with Carlos Gomes, one of the founders of Merryman. Carlos, we cover in the Merryman. You just mentioned you can't find the picture. So what I would like to do is try to go back to the rivalry and what you think of the MOVA competition at that time. And then we'll go fast forward into the opening of the community center and what it meant or what it should mean to the development of MOVA. So how well, actually, what are you doing now? Are you retired or?
I still involved in the community. As a matter of fact, I was just on an interim team, setting Ebonites back on the right course, democratic operations, so to speak. And right now, my vision is to synergize all the groups within the community.
Okay. How is that going so far?
As a matter of fact, the plan that linger in here is honoring our original residents, foreparents, our forefathers, mothers, brothers and sisters, by re-establishing the MOVA Community Welfare Association as to do the very work it did all through the years. We do accept the community councils primarily because all operate under the same constitution. And we share the view that in different communities, we have different needs. So the people should provide themselves with a constitution to work with and by. But to come back to Merryman.
Yeah.
Merryman was formed in the year 1965 after our playing field was closed down for 5 years from 1960. And it was an inward hunger for football all around us. Manchester, Merryman, Eagles, Dodgers. 9-story, 4-story Arundel Street, Chinapu United and all these clubs were involved.
What was the purpose of Merryman? How did Merryman start? Was there a void? Because you mentioned Honved was before you guys, so.
Yeah, well, it had a void, as I say. The ground was closed down for 5 years, 1960 to 1965, when we, the young people at that time, see football had a play. We went to Mr. Chimo and asked him if he could work towards organizing a league. And we managed to get him doing just that, and we had a wonderful league on play.
For some reason, when Merryman came out, they seemed to rival Dodgers very well. I don't know if it's because there was a Bernard there or I don't know what caused that, but as a young guy I remembered. I mean, I kind of like Merryman because maybe it was a younger team and as a young fellow we kind of relate to the younger players.
The reason for that impression by Merryman is because Merryman, most of us admire Dodgers as a football playing team in MOVA Football League. As a matter of fact, as a left winger, I used to go down primarily to see Kingsley George.
Dopey, better known as Dopey. Yeah, right.
Play left wing position for Dodgers. I have learned much of the ball that I may have delivered from doing just that. Right? And what happened here is that, you know, impressions could be wrong at times. We really admired Dodgers. Yes, it had the little questions about certain members of Dodgers, right? And we overpassed that. But Merryman and Dodgers was very friendly.
All right.
Small, Russell McIntyre, the McIntyre brothers as a matter of fact, right? So, with respect to that time, it was a matter of all of us as lovers of the game we call football, right, was sharing a heavy
Passion.
passion and coupled with an inward hunger to get back on the field playing ball after the ground being closed for 5 years.
If I also remember correctly, as one of the younger teams, up came Eagles.
Yeah.
How you married Eagles at the time? Because I remember that seemed to be the young generation, Merryman Eagles.
Well,
I mean, ex-peoples were young too, but they were more into the sports and culture, more in the community center and stuff. So how was the rivalry with the Eagles? How you consider Eagles?
well, Eagles is a team that MOBA football would always have to mention. If you mention Merryman name and Dodgers name and Manchester name, Eagles must be mentioned along with others, Liverpool United, right? But what happened with Eagles in 1965 football, right? The world don't know. But where it is that Merryman was acclaimed the winner of the league, if the world had known, including the referee, Eagles would have been the winner of the league.
Based on?
This is because the C-Smack feeble, Alan Keaton, let go a pile driver, and it went straight through the goal at a full speed, and unfortunately the net had a hole. Oh, there's the truth. And that ball went through the net, the hole in the net without touching the net. So the referee was baffled. But I had known that that ball went through the goal. I watched that ball.
From the flank you had the angle.
But I can't come out and say
Yeah.
it's a goal because my go.
I used to watch everybody from before you guys with Honved and up to you guys and beyond. There was a clip between you and Jughead that we used to talk about up on our block. The flicks.
Yeah.
The flicks. Was it practice or just a knowledge of where the person was? It anticipation? Did he know where he was? Or
the whole system that brought in the flick was in maintaining the agreed play, a one touch, two for the most. So at times you'll get a crossover from the right side, and because of the defense on you, the flick was the easier way to pass it one time. So you find out a flick play.
After contact,
Football
Jughead.
begins here. It
Yeah.
is played here first. But you have to be quick in your thinking to trigger it in action.
Were you around with Cipriani United?
Yeah, Cipriani United, another good team. Yeah. Well, all the teams in 1965 league, which I said was reopened after 5 years, the ground would have been closed. That inward hunger for the game brought out the best in almost every team in MOBA Football League. And this is why it should be and is rated as the most productive time of football being delivered at MOBA playing ground.
And what do you think now with the void? I know you mentioned about the committee coming up. You're aware there's a community center coming in, right?
Yeah.
Which is something I'm going to be coming back
Yeah.
for. You have any, there's a certain amount of inactivity now. I used to do the MOVA Primary School for about 5 years. It stopped from 2010. I'm detecting lack of enthusiasm for whatever the reason. And there's a void. What causes this, in your estimation? I mean, you've been around. What causes these things? What,
Well, the whole idea is we have experienced through the years social violence by the very social welfare organization, wherein at times they would have the community center closed, and until they're ready to open, when it's convenient to them, they come and open the community center, which we thought was wrong.
Okay.
We always believe that our community center should be open until at least 10 o'clock at night.
So you're saying they used to close before that time?
Yeah, and they didn't used to open until all around 6, 7. Sometimes they didn't open at all. So they didn't have a set agenda.
So what are you proposing for the new regime? You know there's a Mova Community Council, yeah.
With,
What are you proposing? Any recommendation?
well, as I said earlier, my vision here now in the community after living the vision and the mission says community oneness, because without that we could do nothing. All inclusive. Community is all inclusive to the people on the territory, whoever is resident, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would want to say that the vision is about us being in that place where we are well represented
In what areas?
in all areas of the community life.
Okay.
Right? To do that, it means that we have to achieve first community oneness, which is a broad cross-section.
How are you proposing to do that? And
Well, synergy is the word.
through activities, through getting the word out about
Well, we already
what's on?
walked the talk, because we are talking about something from 1975, 76 to here.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
The Mova Block Union was born in the Mova community, out of the Mova Community Welfare Association, to correct the errors that the administration of the Mova Community Welfare Association was making, which in itself could be considered and termed social violence.
Okay.
So this is why I, as a young man, having the generosity in my heart, when the vision was revealed to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I walk the talk. I come out, I went by Chimook, talk to Merryman people, and then Pansy. Pansy, McDonald is the title, I can't remember his first name.
Yeah.
I have not seen him since 1975, 76.
I think I know.
Because he had was to leave the migration group,
Okay.
right? I have not seen him since then. But that is the first one that walked into me and walked the talk. Then we had Audrey Rudder falling in with us.
Is that Palmer Street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the Matza Mabu is 1 + 1 + 1 in a continuum. We have to get us involved. We have to respect each other. The blame game and the press down game, we already too late for that. We can't entertain that. When we come together, we must come together to fix things.
Okay, based on the blame game and stuff, you're also part of the Urbanites. Are you part of the Urbanites
Well, sure, because
structure, the
Urbanites,
present Urbanite structure?
well, yeah, the present Urbanite structure is always the original Urbanites that we so jealously love.
Okay, and how is that going?
Well, right here, as I said, is on the right track. It was liberated from one man running the whole thing. However that happened, I can't see. But we corrected that, and we know how Urbanites sailing forward.
Under committee structure?
A democratic operation.
Okay.
All inclusive is a community bank.
I understand you had something over the carnival. How did that go?
Well, that was wonderful. And only recently we had a sort of memoriam to deceased Jojo Reese, and that too passed off successfully.
How is the international contingent of Urbanites from New York? How I understand they're interested in supporting and playing some role?
Well, for those who came down for the carnival, it was between us, and we were intermingling and sharing certain ideas and the work that we did with the interim team and getting the band back on the safe place. And we have a new elected management in place, right? Dave Small is the manager.
You have a position?
No, I declined from any position in the steel bank.
So you didn't want to have any official
No,
operating in
I
here?
told him
What's the reason for that?
the reason for that is because I know my calling in the same community involvement. And my calling right now is a big bang. The calling after walking the talk and sharing the vision and the mission.
Mm-hmm.
For years, you could tell Pansy that from her in a meeting. I never stopped walking the talk.
Okay.
Right? The plan is to re-establish the Mover Community Welfare Association. Right now it's just the same thing. God bless everybody who went over on that side. But right here now,
Hold on, I'm kind of detecting something. The committee right now is the Mover Central
Council.
Communities Council, right?
Yeah.
You're mentioning a different name.
Yeah, the
Welfare. That was the
original
earlier.
name
I know that was the
founded
earlier
by
one.
the
So
original resident.
what you're saying is that you are more comfortable with the previous abbreviation, or you're not comfortable with the latter?
Well, I just always be bold with the truth as I see it. On the merit of my involvement, because I know I real, I know I true, right?
Mm.
I am saying that regardless of who in control of the Mover Central Community Council, it would be a difficult thing to move the people with it. And
Based on name or?
No, not name. Integrational organization.
Yeah, that's kind of complicated.
All right, what I mean by that is that, I said earlier, every community differ in terms of need.
Mm-hmm.
It may resemble closely, but there's a difference in every community, right? As regards that social need for us to come together.
Okay, let me make it short and ask you questions point form. You have a problem with the name?
Definitely.
If the objectives, or
Not
just
necessarily the name, but the constitution that goes through Trinidad and Tobago. I have a problem.
So you're not necessarily the Mover Central Committee, but the basically constitutional structure that governs
Right.
well, that's a little more, well, we can't get into that because that's a lot deeper than
Right, and knowing that the Mover Community Welfare Association has the original concerns for the welfare were the ones who in the initial stages built our community center.
Yeah, but if with all respect to we in 2016 and things don't really remain the same.
I agree.
So there has to be some flexibility to
draw reference on that to
yeah.
show you where when people would come together and put what they want on paper in terms of a constitution, things happen.
Yeah, I understand that, but what happens sometimes is that you say you walk the talk, right? And walk the talk, that's really the way. So if you walk the talk and through trial and errors, I think you could always modify and do bylaws and stuff and get a more operational thing. But to just on the onset, I think sometimes you have to roll and show your wisdom by, you know, as it goes, because it's like children. If you see the error, if you tell them don't play there and they fall in the canal, you tell them, you see, I told you. So you can't really take the position as hardline as you're taking it right now. If you have the wisdom and the experience, I think you have to, I mean, I respect the fact you didn't take no position, but I think you also have to be kind of supportive instead of being, it sounded like you have a little resistance.
Well, resistance, yes. I admit that there's this spirit of resistance in me as regards the community that I born and grow and live in.
So, okay, this is the last wrapping it up. What you recommend, forget the constitution, forget the bylaws, in terms of practical, operational terms, what you want to see. You want to see activity, You want to see a school, you want to see a community center, you want to see a playground, a basketball court in practical terms. What you want to see. Forget the political and the other part.
All these things are necessary. But as I said earlier on, until we could acquire community oneness, all that we
Yeah, that's
want,
important too. Yeah,
all that we might
yeah.
want,
I agree with
we
that.
will not have.
Yeah, I agree with that. But in supporting you with the oneness though, we all have to contribute to the oneness. So if you're being resistive and you ain't talking it out, is
No,
a problem, you know. So you have to be a little more tolerant.
I could
Yeah.
accept that correction too.
Yeah. I agree with the oneness. I with you with the oneness.
Sometimes, you know, you see in community involvement and participation,
Yeah.
right?
Well, let me see what else we could get on the football. Were you around with the Everton and the Manchester, the new Manchester, the new wave? You know this gentleman here, Kelly Green. Were you watching the football in Mova around Everton from Chinapu and Manchester
Yeah.
United, the young teams? What do you think of those two teams in terms of standard and in terms of
Everton is a very good team. Likewise, Manchester. And this all is a happening from 1965.
So you find the new young Manchester represented the name well?
I give them a 9.
Out of 10?
Yeah.
What? Them ain't even struggling to pass, them going clear.
Yeah.
And what, so,
Nine.
and Everton compared to Queensland and Chinapu United, because Everton is a new way. How you compare Everton come to Queensland and these things with Critchlow and them?
Well, Everton would always go in the front.
Alright. Well, more constructive ball or?
So. I think so. I think they play the ball in the head first.
That's okay. Yeah. And where you put, if you had to give the top 5 teams in Mova, if you could do it from top to bottom or bottom to top, do you think you could venture for the top 5 teams?
I wouldn't want to go there.
Well, you don't want to go there?
No, I could offer my personal...
5 out of 5? Okay, give me 1 out of 5.
1 out of 5?
Yeah. Anyone.
The team, that would be another thing. You had to ask the next question, during which dispensation in the...
Well, no, what I do in it is overall, and that's why I put it this way. There is at least one team from your era. So that's why I asked you
Well,
for...
from my era, I could give you 2 teams
Well, this is okay.
that I share a special place in my heart.
Okay.
Obviously, Merryman and Manchester.
Manchester. So Dodgers, what do you think of Dodgers?
Dodgers was admired by us, but because of some, to be plain, funny people, we didn't really get
Well,
the
funny
opportunity.
in 2016 could be determined different ways than funny in
That is true too.
in 1965, you know, Carlos. So you need to break down funny.
Because some people in that time on Dodgers, you go to apply to Dodgers, to join Dodgers, they tell you you're too small. Go on some height, go on some weight.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. I could relate to that.
I mean,
I could relate to that. I could relate to that. Oh, so it ain't funny. It's just that they had a hard eligibility roster to be eligible to play for the team. Yeah. I mean, did you try to join Dodgers?
For me?
Yeah.
I approached Russell to join Dodgers before Merryman.
I think I heard that before I left.
Yeah.
I think I heard that before I left. Yeah. That is why, as a little youth, that's why I asked you about that. I find Merryman had a serious rivalry with Dodgers.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Carlos.
Dodgers is a team we admire.
Yeah. So Carlos, well, thanks for the time, and I hope we can find our Merryman picture with you and Jughead and Bugs.
Yeah,
and Stephen and Tyrone and Bachak. Tyrone and I know, but in the picture, Tyrone, Bachak, Bugs, you know. So I hope we can pull that off. All right.
I'd like to say one thing.
Okay.
Ultimately, on the community line. Right now, the contribution I would like to make to our community mover central in particular has to extend into greater is to synergize all the fragmented groupings into one, which says something about the community oneness vision.
The one is when you say one body or one oneness in terms of
In
functioning.
the community, we have different groupings.
Okay, like for instance, example.
Like for instance, we are to be synergistic. We are to move through the PTAs. We are to move through the MCC, all these groups, MCWA.
And bring it to, and what would you like it to be called and to be?
Mover Community Welfare Association, the original.
Can I ask you again, we're back, why welfare is welfare, is it welfare based on it's representing more of a grassroots definition,
No, we could
or
take,
you have a council as it's more?
as a general context.
Yeah, because we all
Community Welfare Association is general.
But again, with all respect, Carlos, what's in the name? If you're talking oneness,
if the people
why so strong on the name if the function is the same?
Because it's the original residents, your father, all four parents.
Yeah, but we just went through a situation where I just asked you about the new Manchester and the new Everton.
Yeah.
There's evolution. So holding on to this, you know, and I from both eras really, and I don't intend to hold on too much. I roll in with the Kellys, I roll in with whoever rolling right now, you know. So if the train had to go, is that if the train going, no matter if the train going junction or whatever, you're either on or you're not on. You can't want to see a proper driver. Yeah, but
people roll and say, you don't want that.
Yeah, if the people say, but what I'm saying, you also have your democratic right that if you don't want that and you don't want to be on the train, you're entitled to that too, you know. But at the same time, you realize what I'm saying? Because to me, once I'm comfortable with the drivers and I see no malice, I feel the train had to go.
Yeah.
Because if the train ain't go, we go be stagnant. We still ain't doing nothing. So again, thanks for the time, Carlos, and it's nice to get you just before I leave. All right.